Assalamu alaikum. In today's video, we are looking at another game of Mikhail Tal which he played against Tigran Petrosian. In this game, Mikhail Tal was playing as a white, so he started the game with the e4, e6, French defense, d4, d5, knight to c3, bishop to b4. Bishop to b4 pins the pawn and also indirectly makes the pressure on e4 pawn. e5, Mikhail Tal saves the pawn, c5. That's a very basic tactic in chess. Whenever you want to attack the pawn chain, always try to attack the defender or the tail pawn first. In this case, the d pawn is the tail pawn or defender which is defending this e5 pawn. So with the c5 move, black is attacking this d4 pawn. Mikhail Tal played a3, attacks the bishop. So bishop captures, pawn captures. Capturing this d pawn does not look like a good idea right now because after c captures on d4, c captures on d4. On the next move, Mikhail Tal can play c3. After that, Mikhail Tal can easily play with this beautiful pawn structure. That's why black did not capture the pawn and he played knight to e7, queen to g4. Queen to g4 attacks the pawn on g7, and the main move for the black in this position is to do castling, and with the castle black can also defend this pawn on g7, but black goes with some unusual move, knight to f5, bishop to d3, h5 attacks the queen, so queen goes to h3, c captures on d4, knight to f3, knight to c6, and now g4. g4 attacks the knight because you cannot capture with the pawn because of queen captures on h8. So that's why black played knight f to e7, g captures on h5, queen to c7 attacks the center, bishop to f4 defend the center, knight to g6 again attacks the center and also attacking this bishop which is undefended. So queen to g4 defend the bishop, knight captures, queen captures, and now d captures on c3. This is not a sacrifice of a pawn on this c3 square because whenever Mikhail Tal played this g5 or g4 move, there's no way black can save this pawn on g7. So Mikhail Tal on the next move play queen to g5, queen to e7. Black is simply offering the queen exchange, but why? The reason is that Mikhail Tal queen is so much powerful in this position because the h6 move is coming. Mikhail Tal can even play rook to g1, attacks this semi-open g file. That's why black offered the queen exchange, but obviously Mikhail Tal denies it with the queen captures on g7. So queen to f8 again offer the queen exchange, but now queen to g5, queen to h6 again offer the queen exchange, and now Mikhail Tal plays rook to g1. Now Mikhail Tal accept the queen exchange, so queen captures on g5 and rook captures on g5. The question can arise that why Mikhail Tal now accept the queen exchange. There are some reasons. The first one is after queen exchange, Mikhail Tal pawn on h5 is totally safe, and later that pawn can be very dangerous for the opponent. The second reason is this black rook on h8. Now this rook on h8 is bounded to this h file because whenever this rook moves from this h file, Mikhail Tal can push his pawn and win this game very easily. And the third reason is Mikhail Tal gets this full G open file which he can later use to attack on his opponent king. That's why this queen exchange is winning for Mikhail Tal. So now bishop to d7, king to e2 with the simple threat of making a battery on this G file, and later Mikhail Tal can also trade this knight after king to e3, and later he can attack this pawn on c3. So now black played king to e7, king to e3 with the simple threat of knight to d4. Black plays rook a to f8, prepares this pawn push on this f file, rook a to g1 makes the battery on g file, and now bishop to e8, knight to d4, and now black played f5. I don't know what black was thinking behind this move, but according to the computer this is a big mistake because we can see this white pawn on this e5 square is stopping the opponent king from entering the game. That's why the best move for the black in this position was to play f6 and trade this pawn on e5, but black missed it and he played this move f5, and now the black knight is also attacking our e5 pawn, so that's why it's forced to play knight captures on c6 check, bishop captures on c6, and now king to d4, f4, rook to g7 check, rook to f7, and now rook to g8. Mikhail Tal is simply offering the rook exchange, so rook captures on g8 and rook captures on g8, and because of the trade on this g8 square, now Mikhail Tal can easily push this pawn on h file, rook to f8, and again Mikhail Tal accept the trade with the rook captures on f8, but that was not a best move for him. He can play rook to g7 check, and after rook to f7 he can play rook to g5. Because of this rook on g file, the opponent opponent king cannot attack our pawn on h5, and that was enough for Mikhail Tal to win the game. But Mikhail Tal accepted the trade and he played rook captures on f8, king captures on f8, and now h6, b6, and now black is stopping Mikhail Tal king from playing this c5 move. King captures on c3, king to g8, bishop to b6. It's a good move because it's stopping the king to f7 move. Black also pushed his pawn on this queen side, a5, king to d4, king to f8, c3, king to g8, h7 check, and after king to g7, Mikhail Tal brilliantly sacrificed his bishop with the bishop to f7. Why this move is brilliant? It's very simple. You cannot capture the bishop because of h8 is equal to queen. So let's say in this position you do not capture the bishop and you play king captures on h7, but now bishop captures on e6, and now whatever black played, the next move of Mikhail Tal is bishop captures on d5, and again Mikhail Tal has this beautiful passer pawn on e file. That's why in this position black did not capture any piece and he played bishop to d7, defend his pawn on this e6 square, bishop to g8, and now this is a perfect duo for Mikhail Tal. The pawn is defending the bishop and the bishop is defending the pawn. So now black king cannot leave the g7 or h8 square, because whenever he moves away, Mikhail Tal can simply play h8 is equal to queen, and this is just winning for him. So black continue the game with the bishop to c8, king to d3, bishop to d7, king to e2, king to h8, king to f3, b5, king captures on f4, d4. The d4 move is deflecting the pawn on c3 from defending this b4 square, and now it's forced for Mikhail Tal to play c captures on d4 and now b4, a captures on b4, and black play a4. Black did not capture the pawn in this position. It's very simple, because let's say if he play a captures on b4, but now king to e3, b3, king to d2, b2, and now after king to c2, Mikhail Tal can easily stop the b pawn from becoming the queen. That's why black did not capture the pawn and he just simply played a4, d5. Again you cannot capture the pawn because of bishop captures on d5, and let's say king captures on h7. The e6 move is just winning for Mikhail Tal. That's why in this position black did not capture the pawn and he played a3, d captures on e6, a2, e captures on d7, a1 is equal to queen, and d8 is equal to queen. Again the both players has a queen on the board, but Mikhail Tal is winning it because of this extra bishop and these 5 pawns. So now queen to c1 check, king to f5, queen to b1 check, king to e6, and now queen to g6. After queen to g6 check, there is a little trap. If you are thinking you can play queen to f6, but now queen captures, and after king capture you are thinking you can push the pawn and win the match. It's not possible because this is a stalemate. So that's why you cannot play queen to f6. Mikhail Tal simply played king to d7, and in this position black resigned. It's very simple why black resigned in this position. Let's say you play queen to d3 check, but now bishop to d5 is a discover check, and after king captures on h7, queen to h4 check, king to g7, and now after queen to g3 check, it's forced for the black to exchange the queen. So after queen captures, pawn capture, Mikhail Tal is just simply winning the game because of these extra 4 pawns, and that is the simple reason why black resigned in this game. So I hope you like this brilliant game of Mikhail Tal, and if you like it, please like this video, subscribe to this channel to get more amazing and inspiring content.